What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Filip Hrgovic, Oleksandr Usyk. Get this. Hrgovic Usyk mandatory title fight ordered by the IBF. Matchroom requests immediate purse bid. Wow. The road to crowning an undisputed heavyweight champion has endured its first roadblock. It has been confirmed that the WBA, the IBF, the WBO, and the IBO heavyweight champion Oleksandr Usyk was instructed by the IBF to enter negotiations for mandatory title defense against number one contender Filip Hrgovic. Representative for the pair of unbeaten heavyweights were officially notified via official letter, though Hrgovic's side doesn't seem interested in dragging out the process. Quote, "We've just got the news through Oleksandr Usyk has been ordered to fight Filip Hrgovic next." Eddie Hearn, chairman of Matchroom Sports, confirmed to DAZN's Claudia Trejos, preceding a live telecast from Cleveland, Ohio. He is the mandatory challenger. We've actually requested an immediate purse bid for that fight. That's going to be next for Oleksandr Usyk. Wow. Matchroom Boxing and Wasserman Boxing co-promote Hrgovic, the 2016 Olympic bronze medalist from Croatia. Usyk, 20-0-13, is guided by Alex Krusik, the K2 Promotions, Ukraine, but whose last several fights have taken place on Matchroom shows. Okay. Let me counterpunch. This is very bad for Undisputed journey. Any possibility of Undisputed now is come to a halt. Why? Because now Filip Hrgovic is ordered to take on Oleksandr Usyk. So what does that mean? That means that Eddie Hearn is going to try his best to sanction that fight and get Hrgovic in front of Oleksandr Usyk. That will be blocking Undisputed, and it doesn't matter to Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn's fighter, which is Anthony Joshua, lost his Undisputed or unified titles to Oleksandr Usyk, so it really doesn't matter to him anyway. Okay, he doesn't care to see an Undisputed fight. He just cares for the fighters that he promotes or co-promotes. And I say to that, I mean, it's good for Eddie, because all Eddie's going to do is, if Hrgovic can upset Oleksandr Usyk, then he could put Hrgovic in there with Anthony Joshua and take those belts back. You know, and then that's if Oleksandr Usyk wants that, but that's exactly what he wanted to do at heavyweight, the same thing he did at cruiserweight. You know, and I look at that as, I see it's pettiness though, you know. Like the IBF, hey, I don't want to wait around. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But you ask yourself this question. Was it, if Anthony Joshua would have beat Oleksandr Usyk, we wouldn't be looking at a mandatory, this type of energy from Eddie Hearn. Okay, he would be trying to get Anthony Joshua in there with Tyson Fury versus uphold the challenge of Hrgovic because he's a mandatory challenger. Okay, it would be the reflection of what happened in 2021 when Oleksandr Usyk was the WBO mandatory. Okay, and when he was the WBO mandatory, he tried everything in his power to stop that fight from going down because he thought that he could get the undisputed fight with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury underway. And since that couldn't happen, you know, think about what he was trying to do. He was trying to get out of that. Now, we haven't heard what Oleksandr Usyk's side has to say about this, you know, but if you're putting up a purse bid, that means that the IBF has already, you know, of course, we already see what they're doing, you know, and the purse bid just confirms on what type of split it's going to be. So he wants to make that fight as soon as possible. But at the same time, Oleksandr Usyk's in negotiations with Tyson Fury, which Tyson Fury has a fight underway. So he wants that fight quick. And what'll happen, it'll just stall time for Oleksandr Usyk. He would have to now defend that title, the IBF, and to fight Tyson Fury, to fight Filip Hrgovic. So Hrgovic is, I know he doesn't have time to mess around, but I think this is more of Eddie Hearn's doing than Filip Hrgovic, because Eddie Hearn knows this is his shot to get one of his fighters the heavyweight crown back. And now, again, if he can beat Oleksandr Usyk, which I don't think he can, I don't think Filip Hrgovic can, because I've seen Filip Hrgovic. He had problems with the slower guy of Zhilei Zhang, which was 40 years old. Somebody more quick and nimble, even though he's shorter, will give him more problems, because I seen what he's affected by. He is vulnerable to counters, a lot of counters, good combination fighter, Hrgovic, but he doesn't have a lot of power like someone like Joshua. Okay. But, he is fast. So he has the speed and the size, and he has the reach. But, this whole thing is, look how fast Eddie Hearn, jumped on this opportunity to get this fight done, which that's what he's supposed to do. I mean, I'm not mad, but I see the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is to get an undisputed heavyweight. And the thing about like Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury, if he does become undisputed, which now it seems, reading this article, that it may be impossible, or it may just be later on, he's going to have to do the same thing that Anthony Joshua did, that Oleksandr Usyk's now having to do. He's going to have to defend those belts, and he may not understand what it takes to be or to stay an undisputed champion, because even when he was unified, he didn't defend anything. He let all those belts go. So he beat Klitschko, and then, all of a sudden started to break down mentally or whatever. You know what I mean? So he doesn't know what that's like, but Anthony Joshua does, and that's exactly why he lost those crowns, because these mandatories are mandatories for a reason. They're mandatories because they have fought and got themselves in a position, to fight for the belt of the sanctioning body. Okay, so it's a reason why they're there. But man, this is crazy, because you didn't see it coming. Just out of nowhere, the IBF would do this. And then you look at the IBF, though, they're real strict in certain things, except when it comes to someone like Jared Ennis. You know what I mean? And Jared Ennis, had to write a petition to the IBF, for Errol Spence to fight him, which if they use the same energy, those type of things should have already occurred. So the IBF was one of those sanctioning bodies that will jump down your throat and will strip you if you don't do what they tell you to do, except for certain instances now. Because again, they didn't have the same energy when Errol Spence and Jared Ennis, because you ask yourself, when was the last time that Errol Spence defended that IBF welterweight title? Because he's in the same position as Oleksandr Usyk at welterweight. So I don't know, hopefully, they hear what the champion has to say, and their desire to take on have the undisputed fight. So hopefully that stands, because that may be another option or another way out for those guys, Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury, both undefeated, both champions, to get it on once and for all. Maybe Saudi Arabia for millions of dollars, the best of the best and all that shit. So hopefully we get a chance to, have that fight if they use those same principles, or the same patience they had with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua when they were trying to get their negotiations done. See, now the tables turn for Eddie Hearn. Now he is trying to make his fighter, get his fighter the opportunity. Again, that's exactly what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? He could give a shit about Undisputed anyway, and ain't none of his fighters. So if he can derail that fight and bring it to a screeching halt, he's doing it exactly with this. So power play for Eddie Hearn and company. You guys tell me what you think about the IBF mandating Filip Hrgovic to fight Oleksandr Usyk. In fact, Oleksandr Usyk to fight Filip Hrgovic via letter. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.